Dear students, this is our third lecture in the series of surface chemistry lectures. So far in the previous two lectures we have done about the basics of surface chemistry, that is adsorptions and their types of adsorptions and factors affecting adsorption chemistry. In the second lecture we had seen about the Freundlich adsorption isotherm and various types of other adsorption isotherms. Now in this lecture we will be discussing about the Langmuir's adsorption isotherms. In our previous lecture, we had seen about three different types of adsorption isotherms, that is Freundlich adsorption isotherms, Langmuir isotherms, and Bett equations. These three are included in our syllabus. The other three are also there, but those are not there, so we will not be discussing them. But these three are included and we will be studying it one by one. In previous lecture, we had seen about the Freundlich adsorption isotherms. Now we will be studying about the Langmuir's isotherm. To recapitulate the previous one, as also the previous two lectures are put up in the YouTube channel, and the links of them will be in the descriptive section, so you can avail those two lectures also. Now to recapitulate it, the Freundlich adsorption isotherm was given in 1909 by Herbert Freundlich through an empirical equation, which he obtained it by a series of different experiments where different types of gases were adsorbed on different surfaces. From those experiments, he gave a equation x by m equals kp into p to the power of 1 by n, where this was an empirical expression to estimate the adsorption intensity of the adsorbent towards the adsorbate. So it generally calculated the amount of adsorption that is happening, that is the extent of adsorption was measured by Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Here x is the amount of adsorbate or the gas that is getting adsorbed over the solid adsorbent. M is the amount of adsorbent, that is this substance which is providing surface for adsorption. P is the pressure of the gas. In case of liquids, it is the concentrations, while K and N are the constants. These constants can be determined by using different ways. One way suggested by Freundlich was by taking log on both the sides of the Freundlich equation. We get log of x by m equals log of k plus 1 upon n log of p. This is of the type of y equals mx plus c, with intercept on y-axis as log of k and slope as 1 by n. So if we plot a graph of log of x by m versus log p, we will get an intercept on the y-axis as log k, and the slope of the graph will be giving us 1 by n. So we can calculate both n as well as k values from this particular experiment. This we will be doing it in our experiments also. While in physical chemistry, first experiment will be dealing with the verification of Freundlich adsorption isotherm by using adsorption of acetic acid on active charcoal. In this case, what we will be doing is we will take a known quantity of say 1 gram of activated charcoal, and we will add increasing order of acetic acids into the different solutions, and after say 30 minutes we will filter out the solution and estimate the remaining amount of acetic acid, which will give us the amount of acetic acid that is adsorbed on the charcoal, activated charcoal. So after plotting the graphs, we can find out the values of n and k very easily with that. So that experiment we will be dealing in the experimental sections. But the Freundlich adsorption isotherm consists of two parameters, one as a k and the other as a n, and the two constants are there, as well as the variables are pressure as well as the amount of gas that is getting adsorbed, and it often fits to a data of rough surfaces. When the adsorption is taking place on rough surfaces or heterogeneous surfaces, this has been observed to be fitting very well. So on a heterogeneous surfaces, Freundlich adsorption isotherm fits very well. So normally it is being taken into consideration that if the data fits, then the surface is a heterogeneous surface. This is although not proved, but it is considered that if the data is fitting for a Freundlich adsorption isotherm, then the surface is a heterogeneous surface. Heterogeneous surface means it is having a multiple types of molecules on the surface, different other types of molecules on the surface where the adsorption process can take place. When the adsorption in heterogeneous process, as there are different types of molecules which are allowing the adsorption process to take place, so what happens is there are high energy sites and there are also low energy sites. So there are multiple types of sites are there, from very high energy sites to a very low energy sites are possible. So in that cases, what happens is when the adsorption takes place at low pressures, when the pressure is low, at that pressures it is the high energy sites that are getting occupied first. That is, it will release more amount of energy, and so the heat of adsorption will be high at the start. At the initial value, heat of adsorption will be high, and as the pressure is increased, low energy sites will also get occupied, and so it will yield to a lower heat of adsorption. So as the process moves, the heat of adsorption keeps on decreasing, and as we know, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S, where delta S is entropy change of the process. As the process is from gaseous state, it is getting adsorbed on the solid surface, so delta S is always negative. As delta S is negative, minus T delta S will be a positive term. Now, if the delta H is a negative term, as it is an exothermic process, so delta G value will depend on the magnitude of the delta H value. As the pressure increases, lesser energy sites are also getting occupied, yielding into lower heats of adsorptions. So delta H keep on decreasing as the process goes on, or as the pressure is increased, delta H decreases, and time comes when the delta H will be equal to the T delta S. At that position, there will be an equilibrium established, as the delta G will be equal to 0. So as delta G equals 0, when delta H is equal to T delta S, the equilibrium will be established in that case, and we will have a saturation state. The limitations of Freundlich adsorption isotherm we had seen, as the Freundlich adsorption isotherm is a purely empirical without any theoretical basis. As it does not have any theoretical basis, it was merely from the experiments that Freundlich gave the equation. So it is valid only over a certain intermediate range of pressures only. That is, over a medium range of pressures only this particular equation is valid. It fails at higher pressures, or because it does not take it into consideration that maybe because it is not taking into consideration that there is a saturation can also occur. As the sites are getting completely occupied, then it will no more have any adsorption process taking place. That is, equilibrium might reach at that positions. Similarly, the constants K and N are variable of temperature. As they are variable of temperature, as the temperature changes, the values of K and N will also change. So it is difficult to compare between the two systems, which one is better, and because of the change in values of K and N on the temperature. So now we will see about the other adsorption isotherm, that is Langmuir's adsorption isotherm. This Langmuir's adsorption isotherm was given by Dr. Irving Langmuir in the year 1916, and he was awarded Nobel Prize for the same work in 1932. It estimates the adsorption capacity of the adsorbent. This is a different concept from that of the Freundlich adsorption. Freundlich adsorption isotherm estimated the amount of adsorption. It estimated the amount of adsorption, while this is estimating the adsorption capacity of the adsorbent. This is very much important practically because it will estimate how good is the particular substance is for adsorption processes. So we can compare from one substance to another substance very easily by using this adsorption capacity of the adsorbents. This Langmuir's adsorption is based on certain assumptions. The first assumption is that the gas, adsorbate gas, is considered to be ideal gas. Although we know that all gases are real gases, not ideal, but for assumption, it has been assumed that the adsorbate gas is a ideal gas. It behaves like an ideal gas and so follows all the gas laws. The second assumption was that the surface, adsorbent surface, is homogeneous. That is, all sides are equivalent. As all sides are equivalent, they will be having equal heat of adsorptions also. The adsorbed layer, the third one is the adsorbed layer is assumed to be monomolecular layer. There is no multimolecular layer formations. Multimolecular layer formation is not taken into consideration, only monomolecular layer formation is considered. It is also that the adsorption takes place on the fixed sites and there is no interaction between the adsorbed molecules. That is, if these blue sites are considered to be occupied sites, if these blue sites are occupied sites and the red sites are the unoccupied sites, then according to this third assumption, each site will be able to occupy only one molecule. That is, one site absorbs one molecule and there is no interaction between two already occupied molecules. These two molecules will not have any interaction between them, but they can interact with the solid surface. That is, adsorbate interaction are prohibited or they does not take place, while there is interaction between adsorbate and adsorbent. These two are different concepts. The adsorbate adsorbent interactions are taking place while adsorbate interactions are not taking place according to the assumptions of Langmuir's adsorption isotherms. The fourth assumption is that the rate of adsorption is proportional to uncovered surface area of the adsorbent. That is, the rate of adsorption is proportional to the area which is not covered. If this is our total surface area of that, say theta is the area which is already occupied, then this, let's say it is 1 minus theta is the one which is not covered or which is empty or available for adsorption to take place, then the rate of adsorption will be proportional to 1 minus theta value. Heat of adsorption is constant as we are taking it into a homogeneous surface, so all sites are equivalent sites. So as they are all equivalent, so their heats of adsorption will also be same for all the sites. So each of these sites will be similar. So when there is an adsorption taking place at these sites, they will yield same heat of adsorption. They will release same amount of energy. So delta H will not vary with pressure, but it will remain constant. The sixth one is that the process of adsorption is a dynamic process. So it consists of two things. One is a adsorption taking place, or we also call it as a condensation, because the gas is getting sticking on the surface, so it is getting condensed on the surface. So it is an adsorption or a condensation process is taking place. And the second is desorption, that is those molecules which are already occupied, these molecules which are already occupied can leave the surface and move into the atmosphere back. That is the desorption process, or we also call it as evaporation process. So it is getting evaporated, and the other one, the molecules which are on the atmosphere near vicinity, they are getting adsorbed on the surface. So that is adsorption or condensation. The other one is desorption or a evaporation process. The rates of both the processes are equal at equilibrium. That is, rate of adsorption will be equal to rate of desorption. Overall, it might seem that there is no process going on, but still there is a adsorption and desorption will always be going on even in the equilibrium. That is why the system is a dynamic process. The seventh assumption is that the rate of adsorption of the molecules on the surface of adsorption is proportional to pressure of the gas. That is, if higher pressure is there, that is more number of molecules are present on the atmosphere near vicinity of the surface, there is more chance of these getting adsorbed on the surface, adsorbed on the empty sites. So the rate will be dependent on two factors. One is the number of sites which are available to be adsorbed, that is 1 minus theta, or the surface area which is uncovered, and The second is it is proportional to pressure. So overall rate of adsorption will be proportional to 1 minus theta into P. Similarly, when we consider about the desorption rate should be proportional to the area which is covered, because those molecules which are already present on the surface, only they can move out. So the desorption process will depend on how many sites are occupied. So from that, how many can be taken outside. So rate of desorption will be proportional to theta, while rate of adsorption will be proportional to 1 minus theta and P. Take it into consider these things. I hope you have understood all these things very easily. Now we will see about the further things in a little while. First, understand this. Dear students, I hope so far you have no problems and have understood everything we have done so far about the assumptions of Langmuir's adsorption isotherm. Now we will see about the derivation of the Langmuir's adsorption isotherm. For this, consider a surface which is of any type, like this. We can take a surface of this. Let us say a part of it is already occupied. That is this part is already occupied, and let that be equal to a fraction theta. That is, if we consider a total surface as equal to 1, then this theta will be the surface which is already covered. So we can have 1 minus theta as equal to the surface which is still empty and available for adsorption to happen. So theta will be the one which is giving us a fraction of total surface area which is covered, while 1 minus theta will be the fraction of surface area which is uncovered and available for adsorption. So by this, from assumptions number 4 and 7, and also from the kinetic theory of gases, we can say that this rate of adsorption will be proportional to 1 minus theta and P. This we have already seen that rate of adsorption is proportional to the surface area which is uncovered as well as the pressure P. So total overall we can write it as rate of adsorption of gas is proportional to 1 minus theta into P, or can be equal to K into 1 minus theta into P, where K is a proportionality constant. Then we had also seen that the rate of desorption of gases depends on the surface area which is covered. That is, all the area which is already covered, that area will be available for desorption processes. So those molecules which are already stick on the surface, वही molecules बाहर जा सकते हैं, and because of that these molecules will get dissolved. So there will be desorption will be happening from the surface area which is already covered. So we can say that this is the rate of desorption of gases is proportional to the area which is already covered, that is theta. So rate of desorption of gas is equal to K dash into theta, where again K dash is another proportionality constant. So हमारे पास अभी दो इक्वेशंस हो गए, एक है रेट ऑफ एड्सॉर्प्शन में it is proportional to 1 minus theta into P, or is equal to K into 1 minus theta into P. और दूसरा इक्वेशन है हमारे पास रेट ऑफ डिसॉर्प्शन में is equal to K dash into theta, जहाँ पर कि हमारा थीटा क्या है, थीटा is the area which is covered already by adsorption. So equilibrium में हमारे पास क्या होगा, we will have at equilibrium दोनों rates equal होंगे, that is rate of adsorption as well as rate of desorption both will be equal. So we can say that कि यहाँ पर rate of adsorption K into 1 minus theta into P is equal to K dash into theta, that is rate of desorption. So ये दोनों equal होंगे. So अभी अगर हम इसको expand करें, particularly this term K into 1 minus theta into P को अगर हम expand करते हैं तो we will get K into P minus k theta into p, that is k into 1 into p, that is kp, and k into theta into p minus k theta p equals to k dash into theta. अगर हम थीटा टर्म्स एक साथ लेते हैं एक तरफ में तो वी विल गेट के पी इज इक्वल टू के डैश थीटा, एंड ये जो माइनस था वो इस तरफ में आकर के प्लस हो जाएगा, सो के डैश थीटा प्लस के थीटा पी, एंड हियर वी कैन टेक थीटा एज ए कॉमन, सो थीटा इनटू के डैश प्लस के पी. So ये इक्वेशन हमें मिलेगा. From this, if we take this theta then and transferring this on the other side, तो हमें मिलेगा theta is equal to kp upon kp plus k dash. तो ये इस तरफ डिनोमिनेटर में जाएगा, so we will get theta is equal to k into p upon k into p plus k dash. So ये हमको मिलेगा कि सरफेस एरिया कितना कवर्ड है वो हम यहाँ से इजीली फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. इसमें p प्रेशर है और k and k dash are two proportionality constants. Now consider A with the amount of gas absorbed by 1 gram of solid adsorbent. Means 1 ग्राम अगर हम solid adsorbent लेते हैं, 1 ग्राम surface area हम लेते हैं एक जिस पर कि हमें absorption करना है. So let us assume कि A is the amount of gas जो 1 ग्राम solid surface पर absorb हो रहा है. So this A will be proportional to the area occupied or area covered, क्योंकि जितना एरिया कवर्ड होगा उतना ही एब्जॉर्प्शन होगा, उसके हिसाब से ही आपका अमाउंट ऑफ गैस आल्सो गेटिंग एब्जॉर्ब विल बी देयर. सो ए विल बी प्रोपोर्शनल टू theta, that is area covered, that is we will have a proportional to theta, and we can have a is equal to some proportionality constant k double dash into theta, where k double dash is another third proportionality constant. So we will have a is equal to k double dash into theta. हमारे पास थीटा की वैल्यू ऑलरेडी है. वी हैव थीटा इज इक्वल टू k इंटू पी अपॉन k इंटू पी प्लस के डैश. तो ये अगर वैल्यू हम यहाँ पर सब्सटीट्यूट करते हैं तो वी विल गेट a इज इक्वल टू k डबल डैश इंटू के पी अपॉन के पी प्लस के डैश. So this will give us the amount of gas absorbed on a 1 gram of solid adsorbent. लेकिन यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, वी हैव 3 डिफरेंट कॉन्स्टेंट्स k, k डैश एंड k डबल डैश. सो इसे हम और भी सिंप्लीफाई कर सकते हैं बाय डिवाइडिंग द न्यूमरेटर एज वेल एज डिनोमिनेटर बाय k डैश. अगर हम न्यूमरेटर और डिनोमिनेटर दोनों को k डैश से डिवाइड करेंगे तो हमारे पास होगा ये k डबल डैश और k दोनों मल्टीप्लाई होंगे और डिवाइडेड बाय k डैश, दैट इज दिस टर्म, into p divided by k upon p, k upon k dash into p, that is this term, and k dash upon k dash. यहाँ पे k dash and k dash gets cancelled, so we will have a is equal to k double dash into k upon k dash into p upon k dash into p plus 1. यहाँ पर अभी k, k dash and k double dash ये तीनों ही terms constants हैं. They are proportionality constants. So what we can do is we can replace these terms, that is k dash double dash into k upon k dash by term k1 and this k upon k dash by the term k2. So we will get two proportionality constants or two constants, that is a into k1p upon k2p plus 1. This equation we call it as Langmuir's adsorption isotherm equation or simply Langmuir's equation. And it gives the amount of gas absorbed per gram of adsorbent at a pressure P. So this equation gives us the capacity of the adsorbent to absorb a particular gas. How much a particular gas can be absorbed over 1 gram of adsorbent, that can be obtained by this particular equation. As here there are two terms in the denominator K2P and 1, so we can have different situations arising over it. So in the case 1, let us assume that what happens at low pressure, that is when the pressure is low, P is very much small. So So P value is small. As P value is small, K into P will also be very very small, and it will be smaller than 1. So in this denominator, K2 into P, okay, this should be K2 into P. So K2 into P will be much smaller than 1. So we can have K2 into P plus 1 will be approximately equal to 1. So if we replace this denominator by 1, we get A is equal to K1 into P. Denominator पूरा गायब हो जाएगा. So we will have A is equal to K into K1 into P. That is K1 into P to the power of 1. What does this suggest is that A is proportional to P to the power of 1. That is A is directly proportional to pressure. So as the pressure increases, A will also increase. That is is the amount of gas adsorbed. So जैसे हम प्रेशर बढ़ाएंगे वैसे गैस जो एब्जॉर्ब हुआ है वो भी लीनियरली बढ़ेगा. दैट इज वी विल हैव अ लीनियर रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द अमाउंट ऑफ गैस एब्जॉर्ब वर्सेस प्रेशर. In case 2, at what happens at high pressures? At high pressures, K2 into P is much higher than 1 because pressure की value बहुत ज़्यादा है. So pressure value is large. So K2P will be larger than 1, and so what we can assume is that K2P plus 1 is approximately equal to K2 into P. So यहाँ पे denominator K2 into P रहेगा, K1 into P divided by K2 into P, where P gets cancelled. So we will have A is equal to K1 upon K2 or K1 upon K2 into P to the power of 0. That is A is constant or A is proportional to P to the power of 0 or A is independent of pressure. This situation happens when it is a saturation pressure is reached. When saturation pressure is reached in the graph, if this is the graph, then this particular situation is via the case 2 at large pressure values, and this initial region is denoted by case 1, while the intermediate region, this particular region, can be denoted by the case 3, that is at moderate pressures. What happens at moderate pressure is that this equation, Langmuir's equation, A equals to K1P upon K2P plus 1 reduces to Freundlich adsorption isotherm equation, that is A equals K into P to the power of 1 by n, where we can consider A is equal to x by n, which is equal to K into P to the power of 1 by n. So this is very much similar to that of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So at moderate pressures, this will turn into Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So while at low pressures, it is directly proportional to the pressure, that is A is proportional to P to the power of 1, that is it is linearly proportional to pressure, while at very high pressure values A is proportional to P to the power of 0, that is it is independent of the pressure, and at moderate pressures it is very much similar to that of Freundlich adsorption isotherm. So this equation, when the situation is plotted, we get a graph which is similar to this type. So in these cases, what happens? This particular graph at lower values, it is K1 into P to the power of 1. So a linear relationship is obtained at this lower values. At very high values, there is the amount of gas adsorbed is independent of pressure. So whatever may be the pressure, there will not be any adsorption happening. So will be completely independent of the pressure. At intermediate values, A will be equal to K into P to the power of 1 by n. So it will be a Freundlich adsorption isotherm will be followed at medium pressure values. That is why the Freundlich adsorption isotherm was valid for medium pressure range, not at the higher pressure ranges and not at the lower pressure ranges. Experimentally, Langmuir's adsorption isotherm can be validated by by dividing both sides LHS as well as RHS of this equation by pressure terms. So if we divide both the sides by pressure, we will get A upon P will be equal to 1 upon P into this term, that is K1P upon K2P plus 1. Now in this case, this P and this P gets cancelled. So we will have A upon P is equal to K1 upon K2P plus 1. If we take reciprocal of this, then what we will have is that this term P gets cancelled. So we will have a reciprocal of this. P upon A is equal to K2P plus 1 upon K1. Or we can have it as K2 upon K1 into P plus 1 upon K1. This is of the type y equals mx plus c, where m is this k2 upon k1 and c is 1 upon k1. So we will have a slope for a straight line graph. Slope will be equal to k2 upon k1, while the intercept on y-axis will be 1 upon k1. So when we plot a graph of p upon a versus p, where a is the amount of gas absorbed at pressure p, then we will have a straight line where the intercept on the y-axis will be 1 upon k1 and the slope will be equal to k2 upon k1, where k1 and k2 are the constants. So this will be giving us the straight line. The limitations of Langmuir's adsorption isotherms are that it holds good only at lower pressures and medium pressures, and it fails to account the roughness of the surface. It is, as we have assumed in the assumptions, it is applicable only to homogeneous surfaces and not the heterogeneous surfaces. So roughness of the surface is not taken into consideration in the Langmuir's adsorption isotherm. Similarly, it was assumed that it is for a monomolecular layers only, not applicable for multimolecular layers. It does not take it into consideration the multimolecular layer. So multimolecular layer adsorption processes. So it fails for the multimolecular layer processes. That is, it is very good for chemical adsorption processes, but for physical adsorption processes, this Langmuir's adsorption isotherm fails. Similarly, it ignores the adsorbate interactions. That is, the molecules which are already occupied, it assumes that there is no interaction between these two molecules, but in actual practice, it has been observed that these two molecules also interact with each other, as they are very close vicinity, so they will be interacting with each other. Similarly, the saturation value of adsorption depends on the temperatures. That is, if we increase the temperature, the saturation value falls. As the temperature is increased, more amount of desorption process will occur, and so the equilibrium will be reached earlier, and so the saturation value, that is PS, will be little lower values for that. So these are the limitations for Langmuir's adsorption isotherm. We have seen so far the Langmuir adsorption isotherm and Freundlich adsorption isotherms. Let us consider the differences between Freundlich and Langmuir adsorption isotherms. Freundlich gives the quantity of gas absorbed by the adsorbent, while Langmuir gives the number of active sites present on the adsorption. So Langmuir gives the number of active sites undergoing the adsorption, not the overall sites that are present, but it gives us the sites which are undergoing the adsorption process. That is, it is proportional to the area covered, that is theta values. Similarly, Freundlich adsorption isotherm is applicable for heterogeneous surfaces, while Langmuir adsorption isotherm is applicable for homogeneous surfaces. For Freundlich, there is no information about adsorption-desorption processes. It does not take it into consideration the two reverse processes, that is adsorption and desorption processes, while Langmuir adsorption isotherm is based on the equilibrium between the adsorption and desorption process. Freundlich adsorption isotherm was an empirical equation, while Langmuir's is based on theoretical basis, so theoretical concepts. So it is a theoretical equation. Freundlich adsorption isotherm considers the multimolecular layers, while only monomolecular layers are considered in the Langmuir adsorption isotherm. So these are the differences between the Freundlich and Langmuir's adsorption isotherms. One example of Langmuir and Freundlich adsorption isotherms for adsorption of cadmium on the coconut fiber. Experimentally, it has been observed these black dots are for the experimental values. That is, these dots are for the experimental values, while the red line is for a Langmuir's adsorption isotherm, and this black line is for the Freundlich adsorption isotherms. What we can see is here is that the black line is not fitting properly with the experimental values, but the red line is fitting it. That is, Langmuir's adsorption isotherm fits much better than the Freundlich adsorption isotherm in case of adsorption of cadmium over the coconut fiber. The correlation values for Langmuir's adsorption isotherm is about 98.8%, while that for the Freundlich adsorption isotherm it is only 91.33%. So there is a much better correlation for Langmuir's adsorption isotherm with the experimental values, while it is little bit poor for Freundlich adsorption isotherm in case of adsorption of cadmium over the cotton fibers. If there is other experiments are there, it might happen that Freundlich adsorption may be better fitting than the Langmuir's adsorption isotherms. So far we have seen about the Freundlich adsorption isotherms and Langmuir's adsorption isotherms. In the next lectures, we will continue about the types of adsorption isotherms as well as the Bett equations and the calculations of surface areas. So, uh, if you have any doubts or comment, put it in the chat box. Thank you. Thank you very much.